Let's do chapter 2 of the Adi Leela, Caitanya Caritamrta. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, Shiva, can you read this, the introduction to this chapter 2?
Okay, Prabhu. This chapter explains that Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself. Therefore, the Brahman effulgence is the bodily luster of Lord Chaitanya, and the localized supersoul situated in the heart of every living entity is his partial representation. The Purusha avatars are also explained in this connection. Mahavishnu is the reservoir of all conditioned souls, but as confirmed in the authoritative scriptures, Lord Krishna is the ultimate fountainhead, the source of numerous plenary expansions, including Narayana, who is generally accepted by Mayavadi philosophers to be the absolute truth. The Lord's manifestation of Prabhava and Vaibhava expansions, as well as partial incarnations and incarnations with delegated powers, are also explained. Lord Krishna's ages of boyhood and powers are also explained. Lord Krishna's ages of boyhood and youth are discussed, and it is explained that his age at the beginning of youth is his eternal form. Okay. The spiritual sky contains innumerable spiritual planets, the Vaikuntha, which are manifestations of the Supreme Lord's internal energy. Innumerable material universes are similarly exhibited by his external energy, and the living entities are manifested by his marginal energy. Because Lord Krishna Chaitanya is not different from Lord Krishna, he is the cause of all causes. There is no cause beyond him. He is eternal and his form is spiritual. Lord Chaitanya is directly the Supreme Lord Krishna, as the evidence of authoritative scripture proves. This chapter stresses that a devotee who wishes to advance in Krishna consciousness must have knowledge of Krishna's personal form. Okay, little bit down, Prabhuji. His three principal energies, his pastimes, and the relationship of the living entities with him.
Yeah. So this chapter is about Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his form, his energies, his leelas, pastimes, and the relationships of the jivas with him. Okay, so let's start with text 1. Shri Chaitanya Prabhum Vande
Sri Chaitanya Prabhu Vande
Balu Api Yad Anugrahat
Balo Apiyat Anugrahat
Tare Nanamata Graham
Tare Nana Mata Graha
Vyaptam Siddhanta Sagaram.
Vyaptam Siddhanta Sagaram.
I offer my obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by whose mercy even the ignorant child can swim across the ocean of conclusions about the ultimate truth, which is full of crocodiles of various theories. So we covered this last time, so I'm going to skip this. We talked about various crocodiles. We also drew a picture of it. 2.2 कृष्णोत्कीर्तन गान नर्तन कला परतो जनी ब्रजाजिता
Ananatana Kala Pato Dhani Brajita.
सद्भक्तावली हंस चक्र मधुपा श्रेणी विहारास्पदम्
Sadhavali Hamsa Chakra Madhupasrini Viharaspadam.
कर्णानन्दिकलाध्वनिर्वहतु मे जिह्वामरुप्राङ्गणे
कर्णानन्दिकलादानि वहतु मे जुहामरुताग्नने
Shri Chaitanya Dayanide Tava Lasal Leela Sudha Swardhuni.
दयानिधे तवा लसलीला सुधा स्वर्तुनि
O merciful Lord Chaitanya, may the nectarian Ganges waters of your transcendental activities flow on the surface of my desert like tongue. Beautifying these waters are the lotus flowers of singing, dancing, and loud chanting of Krishna's holy name, which are the pleasure abodes of unalloyed devotees. These devotees are compared to swans, ducks, and bees. The rivers flowing produces a melodious sound that gladdens their ears. Okay, so Shiva, please read the purport.
Our tongues always engage in vibrating, useless sounds that do not help us realize transcendental peace. The tongue is compared to a desert because a desert needs a constant supply of refreshing water to make it fertile and fruitful. Water is the substance most needed in the desert. The transient pleasure derived from mundane topics of art, culture, politics, sociology, dry philosophy, poetry, and so on is compared to a mere drop of water. Because although such topics have a qualitative feature of transcendental pleasure, they are saturated with the modes of material nature. Therefore, neither collectively nor individually can they satisfy the vast requirements of the desert like tongue. Despite crying in various conferences, therefore, the desert like tongue continues to be parched. For this reason, people from all parts of the world must call for the devotees of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who are compared to swans swimming around the beautiful lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or bees humming around his lotus feet in transcendental pleasure, searching for honey. The dryness of material happiness cannot be moistened by so called philosophers who cry for Brahman, liberation, and similar dry speculative objects. The urge of the soul proper is different. The soul can be solaced only by the mercy of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his many bona fide devotees who never leave the lotus feet of the Lord to become imitation Mahaprabhus, but all cling to his lotus feet like bees that never leave a honey soaked lotus flower. Lord Chaitanya's movement of Krishna consciousness is full of dancing and singing about the pastimes of Lord Krishna. It is compared herein to the pure waters of the Ganges, which are full of lotus flowers. The enjoyers of these lotus flowers are the pure devotees who are like bees and swans. They chant like the flowing of the Ganges, the river of the celestial kingdom. The author desires such sweetly flowing waves to cover his tongue. He humbly compares himself to materialistic persons who always engage in dry talk from which they derive no satisfaction. If they were to use their dry tongues to chant the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, as exemplified by Lord Chaitanya, they would taste sweet nectar and enjoy life.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah, thank you for that. It's all about chanting the holy name. Vibrating useless sounds does not really get any benefit. For example, if you're talking about cricket or movies, there may be some fleeting pleasure for maybe a few seconds, but that does not really make us happy. Hmm? And tongue is compared to a desert because desert need constant supply of water. So this water cannot come from art, cultures, politics, sociology, but it has to be saturated with transcendental qualities. Right now, it is saturated with modes of material nature, means sattva, raja, and tama gunas. So, despite crying in various conferences, like there are so many conferences, people participate, but they're still not happy. Why? Because they are not glorifying the Lord, right? So then the topics become old also. We read newspaper and the next day we throw it away. So that old news doesn't have much meaning anymore, right? So these are material topics. Whereas spiritual topics is compared to bees humming around the lotus feet of the Lord in transcendental pleasure. Hmm? So the soul can only be solaced. Solaced means comforted, right? You see the statement here. Soul can only be solaced by mercy of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his bona fide devotees who never leave the lotus foot of the Lord. Hmm? So our soul is hankering for something higher than just these material topics. Actually, once your food is taken care of, it is either material topics or spiritual topics. That's about it, right? One of these two. So, material topics will not satisfy us. That is what is being said here. And then he talks about Ganges, Lord River Ganges, which flows from the celestial kingdom up in the above Kailasha from the spiritual world. So, similarly, the sweetly flowing waves of this knowledge of God will cover our tongue, then we'll be happy. And then chanting of Hare Krishna mantra is given. So, normally we think chanting of Hare Krishna mantra very lightly, but based on all this conversation, it is pretty heavy. There is something more than just what we understand at this point. Jayo Jayo Sri Chaitanya Jayo Nityananda
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jayo Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrindam.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
All glories to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Sri Nityananda Prabhu, all glories to Advaita Acharya, and all glories to devotees of Lord Gauranga. तृतीय श्लोकेर अर्थकरि विवराणाम्
Yashloke Artakari Vivarana.
वस्तु निर्देश रूप मंगलाचराणाम्
Vastu Nirdesha Rupa Mangalacharana.
Let me describe the meaning of the third verse. It is auspicious vibration that describes the absolute truth. यदद्वैतं ब्रह्मोपनिषदि तदपि यस्य तनुभा
Yadadvaitam Brahma Panishadi Tadapi Asya Tanuba.
य आत्मान्तर्यामि पुरुषा इति सोऽस्यां सभ्युभवः
Ya Atmantaryam Purusha Itiso Syamsa Vibhava.
सदैश्वर्यै पूर्णो य इह भगवान् स्वयम् अयम्
Sadaishwaryai Purno Yaiha Bhagavan Sa Swayam Ayam.
न चैतन्यात् कृष्ण जगति परतत्त्वपरम् इह
Na Chaitanyat Krishna Jagati Paratatvam Paramiha.
Okay, you got that right? You memorized it. Very good. Um, so what the Upanishad describe as impersonal Brahman is but effulgence of his body. And the Lord known as Super Soul is but is localized. So effulgence is Brahman, Super Soul Paramatma is localized, and finally Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. With the six opulences, we talked about this also last time. So, somebody asked a question, are these same as Krishna's six opulences? Well, nobody can be as full as Krishna, right? So, it doesn't appear that he has the complete six opulences because he's still an incarnation. Nobody can be equal to Krishna. Even his incarnations cannot be equal to Krishna. ब्रह्म आत्म भगवान अनुवादतीनाम
Brahma Atma Bhagavan Anuvadatina.
अंग प्रभा अंश स्वरूपाति देह चिन्हाम
Anga Prabha Amsha Swarupa Tina Videya Srina.
Impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and personality of Godhead are three subjects. We have been talking about this since Bhagavad Gita days. We talked about in Bhagavad Gita, we talked in Srimad Bhagavatam. Now we are talking in Caitanya Caritamrta. Same topic. And the scripture should not be different, right? Knowledge is knowledge. It cannot be that in a different book all of a sudden knowledge changes. अनुवाद आगे पाचे विदेह स्थापनम
अनुवाद आगे पाठे विधेय स्थापना
से अर्थ का ही सुन शास्त्र विवरणम
से अर्थ कही शुन शास्त्र विवरण
Suna means here. Suno, suno they say, right? Here suna means here. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying Suna Shastra Vivrana means what is discussed in the Shastras. A predicative always follows its subject. This is from English grammar. Now I shall explain the meaning of this verse according to revealed scriptures. Swayam Bhagavan Krishna Vishnu Paratattva
स्वयं
भगवान
भगवान
कृष्ण
कृष्ण
विष्णु
विष्णु
परतत्व
तत्व
Purna Jnana Purnananda Parama Mahatva Mahattatva.
पूर्ण
पूर्ण
ज्ञान पूर्णानंद परम
ज्ञानानंद
महत्व
परमत्व
Very good. Krishna, the original form of personality of Godhead, is the summum bonum. This is again ancient English. So Srila Prabhupada, because he studied in British College, Scots College in Calcutta, he's using all British English. Summum bonum means complete. Of all pervading Vishnu, he is the all perfect knowledge and all perfect bliss. He is the supreme transcendence. Right? So now he's bringing it all together. Again, the same thing is discussed in his Upanishad also. नंद सुत बलियान रे भागवते गाय
नंद सुत बलि जान रे भागवते गाई
श्री कृष्ण अवतीर्ण चैतन्य गोशानी
श्री कृष्ण अवतीर्ण चैतन्य गोसाई
He whom Srimad Bhagavatam describes as son of Nanda Maharaj has descended to earth as Lord Chaitanya. So he's doing the connection between Nanda Maharaj's son, Krishna, and Sri Krishna Chaitanya. So he's essentially saying they are one and the same. He is an avatar of Lord Krishna. Okay, Manoranjan's son, please read this.
According to the rules of rhetorical and efficient composition in literature, a subject should be mentioned before its predicate. The Vedic literature frequently mentions Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, and therefore these three terms are widely known as the subjects of transcendental understanding, but it is not widely known what is appears as the personal Brahman is the effulgence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's transcendental body, nor is it widely known that the supersoul or Paramatma is only a particular partial representation of Lord Chaitanya, who is identical with Bhagavan himself. The descriptions of Brahman as the effulgence of Lord Chaitanya, the Paramatma, as his partial representation, and the Supreme Personality of God Krishna as identical with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu must be verified by evidence from authoritative authoritative Vedic literatures. The author wants to establish first that the essence of the Vedas is the Vishnu Tattva, absolute truth. Vishnu, the all-pervading Godhead. The Vishnu Tattva has different categories, of which the highest is Lord Krishna, the ultimate Vishnu Tattva, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita and throughout the Vedic literature. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is described as Nanda Sutta, the son of King Nanda. Krishnadasa Kaviraja Goswami says that Nanda Sutta has again appeared as Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he bases this statement in understanding that the Vedic literature concludes there is no difference between Lord Krishna and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This the author will prove if it is thus prove that Sri Krishna is the origin of all tattvas, truths, namely Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan, and that there is no Mahaprabhu, no difference between Sri Krishna and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It will not be difficult to understand that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also the same origin of all tattvas, the same absolute truth as he is revealed to students of different realizations is called Paramatma and Bhagavan.
Very good. So this particular verse is the connection between Srimad Bhagavatam and Caitanya Caritamrta. If you don't agree with this verse, then there's no point in reading anything further. So this verse connects the position of Lord Krishna with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that he is an avatar and there is no difference, right? He clearly says there is no difference here. So there is no difference between Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya, let's see, Lord Krishna and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Again, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's name is also Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he's one and the same. So, I mean, this is very, very important, super important point to understand. That's why in Mayapur, the importance is given on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and less on Krishna himself. Right? He says, if you understand Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then you understand Krishna. And he has come to give you this knowledge. So don't waste time. Just follow this knowledge. That is what is being said here in this case. Okay, any questions on that one? This is a very, very important point, and we will stop here because we started late, but we should still stop on time, and then we'll do chanting. Any questions on the position of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Okay, if not, let's chant now. Sri Krishna Chaitanya
Sri Krishna